The Vorthak citadel had stood unconquered for 3,000 years. Carved from a single asteroid the size of a small moon, its crystalline walls pulsed with defensive energy that could vaporize entire fleets. The fortress hung in the void between star systems, a monument to Vorthak engineering and their absolute dominion over this sector of the galaxy. No species had ever breached its defenses. Most were wise enough not to try. Commander Zethkar stood in the Citadel's observation deck, his forearms crossed behind his back as he gazed out at the stars. The Vorthak were an ancient race, their exoskeletons gleaming like polished obsidian, their compound eyes capable of seeing across multiple spectrums simultaneously. They had built this fortress as both a military installation and a symbol, proof that some things in the universe were truly immutable. "Commander," his aide approached, chittering nervously. "Long-range sensors are detecting an anomaly." Zethkar's mandibles clicked in annoyance. "Define anomaly." "A single vessel, sir. Small craft, primitive by our standards. It's approaching." The commander's compound eyes shifted, focusing on the tactical display that materialized before him. Indeed, a tiny speck was moving toward their position at sublight speeds, laughably slow by galactic standards. The ship's design was unfamiliar, angular and crude, held together with what appeared to be metal alloys and chemical propulsion systems. "Origin?" Zethkar demanded. "Unknown, sir. The vessel doesn't match any configuration in our databases. However," the aide hesitated, "there are rumors of a new species in the Outer Rim. They call themselves humans." Zethkar had heard whispers. Some backwater race that had barely achieved faster-than-light travel, fumbling around the galaxy's edge like children playing with fire. The fact that one of their vessels had made it this far into Vorthak space was mildly impressive, but ultimately irrelevant. "Destroy it," he ordered. "Sir, the defensive grid is charging, but—" The fortress shuddered. Not from an attack, but from something far more unprecedented. A sound echoed through the Citadel's halls, a rhythmic, metallic percussion that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Knock, knock, knock. Every Vorthak in the command center froze. In 3 millennia, nothing had ever made contact with the Citadel's outer hull. The defensive fields should have incinerated anything that came within 1,000 kilometers. "Report," Zethkar snapped. "Sir, the human vessel has... it's..." The tactical officer's voice cracked. "It's physically touching our outer hull. The defensive grid isn't responding. It's as if the energy fields are simply ignoring the craft. Knock, knock, knock." The sound came again, patient and rhythmic. Zethkar's mind raced through possibilities. Some kind of new shielding technology? A temporal displacement device? The humans were supposed to be primitive, barely more advanced than the Stone Age species that occasionally launched themselves into space, only to die in the void. "Open a communication channel," Zethkar commanded. The view screen flickered to life, revealing the interior of the human vessel. A single occupant sat in what appeared to be a pilot's chair, wearing a simple blue uniform. The being looked remarkably unremarkable. Pale pink skin, small eyes, a mop of brown hair, and an expression of mild confusion. "Hello?" the human said, its voice carrying an odd inflection. "Is anyone home? I've been knocking for about 10 minutes now." Zethkar stared. In all his centuries of military service, through wars that had reshaped star systems and diplomatic encounters with dozens of species, nothing had prepared him for this moment. The galaxy's most impregnable fortress, defended by technology that bent the laws of physics themselves, had been knocked upon, as if it were a door. "You," Zethkar began, then stopped. "How did you breach our defenses?" The human, who appeared to be male based on the uniform designation, glanced around his cockpit with genuine confusion. "Defenses? Oh, you mean those sparkly light things? Yeah, they were pretty, but they didn't seem to be working. I just flew right through them. Impossible. Our defensive grid operates on—" "Listen," the human interrupted politely. "I'm Lieutenant Dave Chen, Terran Diplomatic Corps. I'm looking for someone in charge. We've been trying to reach you folks for weeks through normal channels, but nobody ever answers. So I figured I'd just stop by and introduce myself." The command center had gone dead silent. Zethkar felt a chill run through his carapace as the implications began to sink in. Not only had this human bypassed their defenses, but he had done so without even realizing they existed. The energy fields that could atomize dreadnoughts had been as inconsequential to him as morning mist. "What do you want?" Zethkar asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Lieutenant Chen smiled, a uniquely human expression that somehow managed to be both disarming and terrifying. "We want to be friends. You see, we're new to the galactic community, and we figured we should introduce ourselves to the neighbors. We brought cookies." "Cookies?" "Small baked goods. It's a human tradition when meeting new people. They're chocolate chip. Hope you're not allergic." Zethkar looked around his command center. His officers stared back at him with the same bewildered expression. The Vorthak Citadel, pride of their empire, had just been reduced to the status of a neighborhood house receiving a social call. You just wanted to say hello?" Zethkar managed. "Well, yeah. We tried sending messages, but they kept bouncing back. Your security system is pretty robust, so we decided to try the personal approach." Chen leaned forward in his chair. "I hope you don't mind the surprise visit. We probably should have called ahead." The commander realized that his mandibles were trembling, not from fear, though there was plenty of that, but from a creeping understanding that the galaxy had just shifted on its axis. If humans could casually bypass Vorthak defenses while carrying baked goods and apologizing for not calling ahead, what else might they be capable of? Zethkar cleared his throat. "I suppose we could discuss diplomatic relations." "Fantastic." Chen's face lit up. "Should I dock somewhere, or would you prefer to come out here? Fair warning, my ship's pretty small. Built for one person, really. But the cookies are in a sealed container, so they should travel fine." As Zethkar gave orders to prepare the docking bay, a thought occurred to him that would haunt his dreams for years to come. The humans hadn't knocked on their door despite the fortress's reputation. They had knocked because they didn't know it was supposed to be impossible. And somehow that made all the difference.